Love you guys. Appreciate you being here. Okay, we're going live. Shabbat Shalom. Um, I am without my better half. She's recovering from the flu. Um, and so I'm going to go tonight because I just love doing this so much. And she wishes she still did some work for tonight. She's an incredible um, helper. We will have been married for 44 years on February 13th. Oh my gosh, that's in 6 days. And I know that Ross and Bridget are on the 14th. I apparently couldn't wait. I'll tell you the story maybe next week. I couldn't wait for the 14th. We were in LA playing music, and we had to go at that time. We didn't, but we did. It was very unorthodox wedding and very not planned. And of course, you pay for those things. So tonight, I'm not going to try to sing her stuff. I'm just going to start by lighting the candles. Again, it's not something that everyone has to do. It's just a way to recognize the Sabbath. It's actually Sabbath has already come, but it's just a way that the Jewish people have done it for a long time. And I don't mean anything religious if you don't like candles. Something we like to do. It started in our when we found out about the Sabbath. So anyways, I'm going to start off with the bread. And we have a Jewish bakery and that makes challah. We're going to try to do some of our own grain rolling and do our own mealing and make our own. Patty's a really good cook. Oddly enough, she makes, as Polish, Irish, and Swedish, she makes the best pizza I've ever had. And my mother's gone now, but my mother was 100% Italian. Forgive me, Lord. Blessed are you, Jehovah, our God, ruler of the universe, who brings forth bread from the earth. And that's certainly something beautiful. Ross is going to be talking about bringing it from the sky soon. And of course, blessed are you, Jehovah, our Elohim, ruler of the universe, who creates the fruit of the vine. I prefer fermented fruits, but that's just me. I was brought up with my grandfather making wine, and I made wine since I was 7. And there's some interesting stories there. Okay, well, we always start off with the most important scripture for us. Hear, O Israel, Elohim, our Elohim, Elohim is one. And you shall love Elohim, your Elohim, with all your heart and with all your soul, very exceedingly. And these words, which I am commanding you today, not a suggestion, by the way, it's a commandment, shall be upon your heart and taught incisively to your children. And you shall speak of them when you sit down in your house, and as you walk along the way, and when you lie down, and when you rise. And you shall bind them for a sign upon your hand, and they will be as bands between your eyes. And you shall write them on the doorframes of your house, and your gates, because Elohim made a covenant with you in Oreb on the day of assembly. And then, of course, the Decalogue, which we should probably read more, but I'm just going to go with Shabbat, which was one of the things that changed my life. Sanctify the seventh day, and you shall cease on it, because in 6 days I made the heavens and the earth, and all that is in them, and I ceased on the seventh day. Therefore you shall also cease, you and your animal and all that is yours. I am Elohim, your Elohim. Of course, growing up, being on a dairy farm as a worker, the cows still had to be milked on Shabbat. I want to go over a few things before we get into the normal stuff we talk about. I'm going to start off with, a darkness in the universe. I won't say the whole name, and I'll try not to cry, but a young daughter, 14 years old, Mira, hung herself this week. and their parents are devastated. So I say to the Almighty, comfort those people. Having lost my oldest son, I know the burn, the grief that never goes. It's always there in the room. And I hope I can witness to them about this theophany from Horeb. May Elohim bless that whole family. She was bullied, and her father moved around a lot. She was at a new school, and she decided to take her own life. And her young brother found her. He's 12 years old. And the mother was home. The dad was at work. The brother and the mother had to take the body down and call the police. I know too many people that have lost their children. On the good news, HorebInstitute.com. I hope that's right, Ross. I ordered some new bling. I like the black hat, and we got the black cat coming, I hope, for me. And a new Guns N' Moses shirt, which was a hit at the SHOT Show where we got this virus when we left. A lot of people police called me over and said, "Where'd you get that shirt?" And I'm like, Horeb Institute. What's that? And you're trying to talk to them. And then all the other gun people and, SHOT Show is 80,000 people that are, they're just not regular customers. They're resellers, manufacturers, and so forth. Ross is going to talk about the Sea of Reeds tomorrow, as you all know here. But if someone ever sees this down the road, it's a great intellectual study, and tries to, Ross tries to pull out who wrote what, when, where, and why. I'm just going to put on my little thing. Dr. Deborah Hearn, I love what she says about the Exodus route. And Ross and I and Jono and Patty and others, Dave Cole, Sherry Cole, we went to Har Karkum, and what a ride that was. We can talk about that sometime, which is a potential site. And I also like David Roll's timeline on Pharaohs and Kings. You might not agree with that timeline, but I do love it. Todd K says he has a black cat. Uh-oh, is this new, Todd? I'm just curious. I had that was my first pet ever, a black cat. And oddly enough, we named her Boots because my dad put boots on her to stop killing birds, but that didn't work. So Boots was my first cat. She lived 19 3/4 years. And wow. All right. So I like to go on to this week in history. I always like to remember back about things and anything that you might come up with. In 457, the Common Era, Leo the First is crowned the Byzantine Emperor in Constantinople. This is how the Eastern Empire, part of the Roman Empire, was a little stronger against the barbarian incursions. And of course, there's two really, the breaking of the church is East and West Orthodoxy. You probably heard the Bonfire of the Vanities. That was 1497, occurs in Florence, Italy, led by the Dominican friar Girolamo Savonarola. I hope I said that right. Where books, art, and luxury goods are all burned in a puritanical movement against moral corruption. History did repeat itself many times. Todd K said her name is Naomi. Hello, Naomi. We have Peaches, which I call rotten peaches, and we have Sheba because she's a polydactyl seven-toed cat. Now, they were both rescues, so they're beautiful animals. Cats, they're strange. 1795, the 11th Amendment to the Constitution is ratified, limiting the ability of individuals to sue states and federal courts. Who did that help? Of course, around this time in 70 CE, following the destruction of the Second Temple in Jerusalem, Jews are scattered across the Roman Empire. And during February, the Romans continued their campaigns against the Jewish holdouts, particularly in Judea, where the remnants of Jewish resistance, such as those at Masada, fought against Roman rule. Now, you know for a fact, if you've ever been to Masada, that was the last stand. Sad stuff. My wife isn't here to give her Hebrew word of the week, and she decided to give me a very deep word, which is relevant to Ross's teachings. And of course, we can never take enough wind out of Ross's sails. He does so good. But midbar, meaning wilderness, or midbar, desert place, pasture. It also has implications of speech derived from the root dabar, meaning to speak or to lead. You know, if you've taken some Hebrew, ani medibar ivri. I speak Hebrew, not really, but I stumble through it. So the term midbar primarily refers to the wilderness or desert regions. It's often used in the Hebrew Bible to describe uninhabited, barren, and desolate areas. These regions are typically characterized by sparse vegetation and are often associated with solitude and testing. The midbar is not just a physical location, but also a place of spiritual significance where individuals encounter God and undergo transformation. I keep on going to the desert and to the Arava to meet God, but I haven't met him yet. So how can this word mean both wilderness and speech? So dabar, both midbar, wilderness, and davar, word or speech, come from the root dalet vav or dalet beit resh, which carries meanings related to both speech and order. La dabar means highlighting the connection between verbal communications, or to speak. And a davar can mean a thing or a matter, linking speech with the creation of concepts or orders. Again, think about the way Ross is teaching. Think about this for a moment. You know, you think these Hebrew words, you can look them up in Strong's Concordance and that's it, and it means this or that. Well, context, the time it was written, how the word is used, I've used this before. In the 60s, when someone said, "Do you have any bread?" that meant money. It doesn't mean that anymore. But I got some bread, man. Let's go get some beer, which didn't make any sense as a colloquialism. Came and went. I won't even go to other things like weed. We won't go into that right now. The Israelites received the Torah at Mount Sinai, which is in the midbar. Prophets are often retreated into the wilderness to receive divine messages. The idea is that the silence and desolation of the wilderness, one is more likely to hear the word davar of God. Again, this is my wife's view. Ross can tell her she's wrong tomorrow. The duality suggests that speech and wilderness are paradoxically linked. Speech arises from silence, and clarity can come from isolation. Midbar is a place of desolation and seeming emptiness, yet it is where deep truths are revealed. Speech, davar, can bring order and meaning to chaos, much like how the divine words shape existence. Let there be light. And when God spoke these words, there was light. The duality suggests that speech and the wilderness are paradoxically linked. Speech arises from silence, and clarity can come from isolation. My wife was thinking, maybe this illness, got her thinking. So the Hebrew word of the week, example, the whole Israelite community set out from Elim and came to the wilderness, Midbar of Sin, which is between Elim and Sinai, or Horeb, on the 15th day of the second month after they had come out of Egypt. In the wilderness, the whole community grumbled against Moses and Aaron, which, don't people do that? The Israelites said to them, "If only we had died by the Lord's hand in Egypt. There we sat by pots of meat and ate all the food we wanted." Probably wasn't good food either. They were probably getting cancer from that. "But you have brought us into the wilderness, Midbar, to starve this entire assembly to death." Boy, when people get hungry, huh? Then the Lord said to Moses, I will rain down bread from heaven on you. Exodus 16, 1-4. Patty's conclusion, the shared root, resh, beit, dalet, suggests an intrinsic connection between the idea of speech and wilderness. The Midbar is not just a physical place, but a spiritual state where revelation, reflection, and speech emerge from silence. The Hebrew language often encodes deep conceptual links between words sharing a root, and this is a prime example of that phenomena. So this is what Patty thinks. Patty, it's too bad you weren't here to help us. And there is the kitty. Naomi, her name is Naomi, and she is beautiful. So now we're gonna read the Proverbs, and I have some help today. Thank everybody. Claudie's coming up to speak first, and I really do appreciate the help I send out. It's from ASV because Ross is using ASV, and there are problems with every version, but Proverbs 10 is where Solomon's wisdom starts to come in. And Clodie, did we have you there? Hi, Clodie.
Hi, Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. We're going to have Clodie, and we're going to have Nikita, and we're going to have JJ reading tonight. And so kind of a third each. So, and I'm not going to read at all tonight. So I just wanted you to start, Clodie. Thank you for helping us, for volunteering. Thank you.
It's my biggest pleasure. Now, just give me a moment.
Sure.
Because I think I lost it. Okay. So the first verses are from me?
Yeah.
Okay. So Proverbs 10. A wise son maketh a glad father, but a foolish son is the heaviness of his mother.
Uh-oh.
Treasures of wickedness profit nothing, but righteousness delivereth from death. Jehovah will not suffer the soul of the righteous to famish, but he thrusteth away the desire of the wicked. He becometh poor that worketh with a slack hand, but the hand of the diligent maketh rich. He that gathereth in summer is a wise son, but he that sleepeth in harvest is a son that causeth shame. Blessings are upon the head of the righteous, but violence covereth the mouth of the wicked. The memory of the righteous is blessed, but the name of the wicked shall rot. The wise in heart will receive commandments, but a prating fool shall fall. He that walketh uprightly walketh surely, but he that perverteth his ways shall be known. More?
I let me just check. I did send you guys the verses. Clodie verses. Oh, that was 12 to 23. I'm sorry. I got it out of order already. So Nikita, I had verses 1 to 11. So so just finish at 11. Okay. Finish at 11, then Nikita can read from there to 22.
Perfect. So 10. I'm beginning from 10. He that winketh with the eye causeth sorrow, but a prating fool shall fall. The mouth of the righteous is a fountain of life, but violence covereth the mouth of the wicked.
Yeah. All right. Nikita, are you here, sister? I thought she was here. Let me see. Nikita, I see you there. You did say you were going to read. There you go. Thank you so much, Clodie. Hey, Nikita.
Shabbat Shalom to the congregation. How are you?
Shabbat Shalom, sister. It's good to hear your voice. And again, I wanted to say one other quick thing. Thank you for those that got on last week and prayed for us. I think I could have struggled through it, but Patty couldn't, and Ross had some very, Ross is extremely busy. They do the whole production from the content to the delivery to the filming, and they do a lot of other things. Plus, Ross is writing books and doing other stuff. So it was good to take it off, I guess. But I heard that some of y'all got on and prayed for us, and I just want to say thank you because it's important when those who believe pray for us, and so it is great to hear everyone's voice. And why don't you take it away? You have did you get the version I sent you, Nikita?
Yes, sir, I did.
All right, let's go from there.
All right.
Well,
I have an echo. Is anyone else hearing an echo?
not me.
Okay. Starting at verse 12.
Yes.
Hatred stirreth up strifes, but love covereth all transgressions. In the lips of him that hath discernment, wisdom is found. But a rod is for the back of him that is void of understanding. Wise men lay up knowledge, but the mouth of the foolish is a present destruction. The rich man's wealth is his strong city. The destruction of the poor is their poverty. The labor of the righteous tendeth to life, the increase of the wicked to sin. He is in the way of life that heedeth correction, but he that forsaketh reproof erreth. He that hideth hatred is of lying lips, and he that uttereth a slander is a fool. In the multitude of words there wanteth not transgression, but he that refraineth his lips doeth wisely. The tongue of the righteous is as choice silver. The heart of the wicked is little worth. The lips of the righteous feed many, but the foolish die for lack of understanding. The blessing of the Most High maketh rich, and he addeth no sorrow therewith.
Amen. Thank you. And hang on, because we're going to want to get your everyone's view of this. But now JJ is going to come up and finish us out. Hopefully, I can see JJ coming in a minute. You raise your hand, JJ, or I don't know. See, he rose his hand. I'm not seeing it. It didn't come up in request. Hang on. Maybe you could unraise the hand and then raise it again and see if that works. There you go. It worked this time, JJ. I thought. There. No. Still don't have you, JJ. I accepted you. I'm sorry, it's just so small. There he is. Your mute's on. There you go. Hey, JJ, your mute's on.
You got me?
I got you now.
Yeah, I still don't have. There's still every time I go in here, there's something crazy. So,
well,
I
apologize.
Yep. So I'm gonna start at. She stopped at 21, right? Okay.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, that's right. I think 22.
I'll start at 22.
Yeah.
I think she might have read that one already, but I'll go and read it. The blessing of Yehovah, it maketh rich, and he addeth no sorrow therewith. It is as sport to a fool to do wickedness, and so is wisdom to a man of understanding. The fear of the wicked, it shall come upon him, and the desire of the righteous shall be granted. When the whirlwind passeth, the wicked is no more, but the righteous is an everlasting foundation. As vinegar to the teeth, and as smoke to the eyes, so is the sluggard to them that send him. The fear of Yehovah prolongeth days, but the fear of the wicked shall be shortened. The hope of the righteous shall be gladness, but the expectation of the wicked shall perish. The way of Jehovah is a stronghold to the upright, but it is destruction to the workers of iniquity. The righteous shall never be removed, but the wicked shall not dwell in the land. The mouth of the righteous bringeth forth wisdom, but the perverse tongues shall be cut off. The lips of the righteous know what is acceptable, but the mouth of the wicked speaketh perverseness.
Yeah. So we know that Solomon is winding up over here. It's some amazing things. I'd like to get anyone's thought that wants to get up and talk. Starting with you, JJ and Nikita. You're both up there. Something that struck me, because I've read this. I think the first time was 1972, and then I've probably read it 25 times. The whole book of Proverbs. And usually, most of the time, I just pick out stuff I'm looking for. But a wise son maketh a glad father, but a foolish son is the heaviness of his mother. What do people think about that? I'm just curious. What do people think about that? It's odd that they would switch parents. And again, I know there's a different relationship between mothers and fathers and their children. But if my son was foolish, I would. Claudia's wants to speak. I would be upset with that. I'm just saying. So, what do you think Solomon was getting at here? Trying to understand things. Claudia came up. Hey, Claudia.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. So I say something to my sister's children.
Uh-huh.
Because they are like 19, 21, and 24.
Uh-oh.
And yeah, they are big. And I told them once that what's important is for them to keep at least 1 year of employment, so that they could understand what is it to be not lazy.
Uh-huh.
So that's when I read the 10th chapter, that is where I was really relating to. Yeah, because slack hand causes poverty, and we should not be slack. We should not be lazy, and you can never be lazy if you want things in life. Like you can never understand things. You can never search for God if you're lazy.
No.
If you're lazy.
No.
So
I agree.
So Jesus perhaps was right when he used to say that you should do everything like under God, under the Lord.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's how I saw that. And I think that, yes, a wise child that understands how to not be lazy makes his parents really proud. But
yeah,
if they know that their children are lazy and they slack and they postpone, they will always have a problem and a very bad place in their heart for their kids. I mean, they will never be in peace.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with
a non-parent speaking. I don't understand how I understand this.
Well, I think it applies to both parents, both of these things. A Jewish woman that I was speaking with made a joke to me once when we were talking about Jesus, because from the beginning, I never believed Jesus was Jehovah. I never believed in the Trinity. And when you're reading the catechism in a Catholic school, after school, they pretty much just kicked me out, and my mom and dad, thank God, were reading the Bible and said. So I used to go into my parents' room when I was 12 years old with a King James, and I would read them verses and explain it to him. And my mother said, "Oh, I always wanted a priest." And I'm thinking, I'm not gonna ever be without a woman for the rest of my life. That this wasn't part of me. I knew when I was 10 what I wanted. When my Aunt Kathy came out in her bikini, she was 8 years older than me, and I had a meltdown. I didn't know why. No one told me anything. And my uncle said, "Dave, what's wrong?" I go, "Aunt Kathy." They go, "She's a woman." And they gave me a beer. Like that told me anything. The ignorance of those days. Anyways, this Jewish woman said, "You don't believe that you there was a problem you had?" I said, "Yeah, I read the whole Bible, and I still have that Bible that was given to me by a man named James, who is from the Church of Christ, I think, same as James Tabor." So I've had two men in my life named James who were from Church of Christ that impacted my beliefs. But James Stocker was a Swiss man, and he would say, "Don't believe me, read the Bible." And it was that kind of beautiful teaching. Was like, "Oh, I'm reading this and I don't agree with you." And we would have discussions. It was beautiful. And it was a foundation. So, and the next biggest thing was Shabbat. But the first thing was, "I don't believe in your Trinity. I don't know where you're getting that from." So I said this to this Jewish woman, and she said, "Well, David, all Jewish women think their firstborn sons are God." Joking. And anyways, and it's not the historical Jesus. I don't throw him away either. Like a lot of us here, we have respect for the person who led us out of Christianity. Like Ross had that following Jesus out of Christianity. He needs to do a second one called Following Moses Out of Judaism. Oh, I'm sorry. Please forgive me. But the fact was, for me, that it's part of who I was, and I think Clody, I see this in everyone here. The amazing people that are in this audience and that follow Ross and others, they could teach these classes. They could teach classes just as, they could teach these classes just as much as Ross could. They'd be different teachings, but we have a lot of wise people. And I'm also very, very impressed that we have so many women that are at this level. Because in a lot of churches, they kind of put women in the back, and I know that Todd has to be careful because Angel's sitting right there, and she can tell Todd that's wrong. And same with me and Patty, and a lot of great people that I know. And also, there's some powerful single moms here that are leading their families, and God bless them that they took that mantle up, because it is tough, in my opinion, to go to do all the things you need to do to keep food on the table, to keep the house heated, to get the kids to school, blah 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 blah. And now you want to read the Bible, and there's these Bible teachers that'll come on in on Sunday, and Wednesday nights was the ones the Protestants around here have the Wednesday night. We have a church. The closest church to me is a Southern Baptist church. That's an amazing name we're an hour and a half drive from Canada. It's the Great White North, if you remember the Rush. Anyways, the issue is that it takes a lot of focus to go and search all these things and try to because there's another thing I wanted to say. There are a lot of incredible Christian preachers that when you go in there, you think, oh my God, this is it, and everyone there, all the coals are together and the fire's hot. And then you come to your own home and you're like, man, that's not what the Bible seems to say to me. To me, That's powerful, that we care enough to find the truth. And the pursuit of that truth is a lifelong, it's a lifelong devotion that we have. And that's what I love about this. I have no intentions on stopping my study. Bob and Doug McKenzie, that's right. Take off, you hoser. It's a Canadian thing. So that is what it, for me is. I kind of summarized what I thought the chapter 10 is: wisdom and foolishness, righteousness versus wickedness, diligence versus laziness, speech and its power, and consequences of our actions. And that's the one thing I think that we all have respect for, is the consequences of our actions. It's what we do also. And if you go into the Moses scroll and kind of look at that view, it's what we do. It's not sacrificing animals. And of course, as you've been listening to Ross and a lot of you have talked, Jeremiah said, Isaiah, God said, when did I ask you to do these sacrifices? When did I ever ask you? So the Bible in itself. By the way, if you haven't seen Ross's take on the Tovia Singer, and I'm sorry, the kid's name, Wes, I think something or other. Wes told Joe Rogan, oh, listen, Matthew was written by Matthew. It'll be live tomorrow. I'm sorry if it's not live now. And so Tovia says, well, look, this can't be. He wouldn't use his name. And then, of course, Ross, Ross said, that's right, Tovia. So guess what? The Torah wasn't all written by Moses. Ooh, I wonder what he's going to see when he says that one. And Ross, you did it so diligently and so nicely. Winston Churchill said the powerful way to tell people to go to hell is to have them ask you for directions. I love that. So the other thing is, laziness. I felt, because I work a lot, 12, 14 hours every day, sometimes more, I felt like I was laying in bed not doing anything, and I felt like I was just being a sloth. Remember, the term sloth was used. They're beautiful animals, by the way. I don't mean anything negative by them.
I've been unemployed for more than 20 days, and I don't know how my mind is inside my head now. So
I'm sorry.
There's always a worst case.
Yeah. Well, I would say that I pray that you find work that is when you work at a job that you love, it goes by, the day goes by fast. And I love my job.
The moment is when I really need whatever job, but it's not about that either way.
I understand that. Yeah. And with your insight, I think you're brilliant, and I don't understand some things you say, but maybe I will someday. There's also the language barrier. You're speaking English as a second language, which you do very well. So I just want to say that.
If you don't understand me, I don't think that I'm doing a good job.
Yeah. Yes. Well, and then,
I will, though.
Points of view are important. I like Nikita when she said, if you're wanting these other things, you're saying what God has given you isn't enough. And it resets you, to thinking, that, what I have is good enough. I was taught a great lesson by my music teacher, Frank Vaccaro, who has passed. He was a jazz great from New York City, and he moved upstate, and he gave lessons, and he was an amazing teacher, very patient with me. And I was with him for about 2 years, and I'm like, yeah, I got this cheap guitar. If I had a better guitar, it'd be better. And then Frank picked up a beat up old classical guitar. It looks like Willie Nelson's. Beat that it was just horrible. And he started playing flamenco on it. And he's like, all right, Frank. I understand, Frank. It ain't the guitar. It's up here. And you know, he would, anytime I thought I got to a point, he was never mean, but he said, I want you to write these improvisations. Pick a song. So I'd pick a song that I like, and it was pretty easy. Then he would pick like a Broadway tune that had many chords and everything. And I'd work really hard, and I'd come back and I would play these improvisations. And he goes, not bad. Write them down now. You know, like, you know, Bach famously played all day, and then he'd come back and he would write down what he played, which he is a genius. There's no doubt, you know, that he's really the first one that brought us symphonic music, and his organ work is nothing short of spectacular. But there was a lesson in life for me. Hey, you know, as long as you can get to work, don't worry about your car. You'll eventually get a different car, and you work hard. And I eventually got some nice guitars that when my dad saw that I was playing, he spent our vacation money. You know, he would get 2 weeks of vacation, and he went to the store and Art Nicoteras, and he said, buy any guitar you want. And, you know, I have the guitar to this day. He paid $468 in 1973 for it. And it's now worth like $12,000. And I'm very grateful. And my grandfather gave me a mandolin, a 1906 Gibson mandolin. The Gibson, made by the Gibson Company with the case. And when he was dying, but I played the guitar and he would play the mandolin. And so I took it to get it refretted at Gibson in Nashville. And I brought it there, and they signed it all in. And long story short, the luthier said to me, do you know what's rarer than your mandolin? I said, what? He said, the case. I said, really? You know, I didn't know. And so then when I'm there, after I was there for like a month, they gave me a call, the luthier, and he said, David, someone wants to buy your mandolin. And I said, well, it has my grandfather's DNA, and I don't need the money. So that person's manager called me and said they really want this guitar in the case, or this mandolin in the case. And I said, I'm sorry, you know, it was my grandfather's, and you know, we still had the Italian songs in the case, you know, Santa Lucia and all these great songs that we got to play. And I just remember my grandfather loving that, and he bought it when he came here.
Is it like this?
It's kind of like that. It's an old Gibson. It's black. And you know, I
Are
had.
you sure you're not Albanian, Dave?
No.
Okay.
It's the other side of the sea. It's the other side of the sea. Grandpa is Northern Italian. Grandma's Southern Italian. And believe me.
Some mixing will have been happening there. In the south of Italy, you have plenty of Albanian. Plenty.
Oh yeah, and you have plenty of Africans. My mother, in the summer when she would get tanned, was darker than light black women, and it's because the boot of Italy and Africa are close. And the thing about it was, my grandmother was the same way. But if you go to Italy today, and this is just I travel there for my business. The Northern Italians think they're better, and they kind of look down at the Southern Italians.
That's true. That's true.
They speak more colloquially, and I go to the Southern Italians, and I got to say the food's better. I'm just saying. I think the Northern Italians, they have this really, like, you know, Florence has the spinach.
I would say that United States have the same thing. Northern states with the Southern.
Oh, yeah, believe me. And you know, prejudice goes both ways. I did a lot of work at Warner Robins Air Logistics Center, and let me tell you, those good old boys, they didn't like no New York Jew that was a wannabe Jew that was a Roman Catholic. They loved me though, and we did great things for the United States Air Force. But the fact is, at the end of the day, there's all these cultural differences, and great things come out of all of it. You know, be honest. The most American music came from the South, from the blues, rock and roll, country, folk. That music to me is the most authentic American. Broadway kind of came
good
through.
literature also.
Yeah, and in the northern music, there was more produced. It was more Broadway. It was more influenced by England and all that stuff. And Angel says, like the difference between Southerners and Cajuns. Yeah. So then that even goes far away. That goes even further because I worked at Avondale Shipyards in Louisiana. And man, what they eat over there, I don't know. It moves around though still. And when they got talking, I couldn't understand them. Same like I went to, I worked on a special project for the SAS, the Special Forces in the UK, and there was a Scottish admiral, and he didn't like the English at all, but it's still the UK. So we're at this fancy meeting and fancy dinner, which was above my pay grade, and they started feeding us all this wine, and there was this place where the stewards would be at the wall, and as soon as your glass was empty, they would fill it. Well, this admiral, I think he probably drank 2 bottles of wine. You ready? I couldn't understand him in the beginning, and after he had those 2 or 3 bottles, I couldn't understand a thing he was saying. And I just went up to the American general I was there with, and I said, "Sir, am I in trouble?" He goes, "No, that guy always gets drunk." So, but he told me how he used to use ferrets to do hunting. We had ferrets at the time. And by the way, cats are much better than ferrets. Just don't get into that was Patty. Patty's the animal lover. She would do all these ferrets, and they just are not good. Yeah, go ahead.
Can I share just, I had like 3 or 4 things that I really would like to share.
Okay.
And that's, for example, on the 15th verse, it says, "The rich man's wealth is his strong city. The destruction of the poor is their poverty."
Yeah.
And that is something that you do not find in Christianity lessons.
Yeah.
And I think that that's something that tells us for the honesty of these lectures or lessons.
Yes.
Like they are telling things by their name. This is something that I had with Ross. I don't remember you should call them as they are. I think he taught me.
Yeah.
So this is what the Tanakh is doing.
Yeah.
In this case, it says, "The rich man's wealth is his strong city. The destruction of the poor is their poverty." So you little children, you should know that this will happen. If you will be wealthy, that's not a bad thing.
Right.
And also it says in the 16th, it says that that's not if you are rich or poor that it's important. But the important thing is how you use these things.
Right.
And it says in the 16th, "The labor of the righteous tendeth to life, the increase of the wicked to sin."
Yeah.
Because a wicked man cannot refrain thyself. So I think that's what happens, and that's the big difference.
Yeah.
And on the 17th, we had, I loved the 17th verse because it has something to do with the way that I lived my life as an actress. It says, "He is in the way of life that heedeth correction, but he that forsaketh reproof erreth." And we always said for the new actors, young actors, that were talented and so on, we always said in my country that if they are to accept correction and if they are to hear how to things
Yes.
on how to properly act or to be a good artist or a human being,
Yes.
that should mean that you are hearing correction.
Yes.
If you do not hear correction, if you are not modest enough to understand that other people could say you more than you know, other
Right.
people know more than you know, older people know more than you know, younger people are more honest than you think they could be. So in all the ways, the lessons, the correction is a very, very good thing.
Yeah. Yes.
And I also wanted to, I had the last thing. I was watching, I'm loving Korean drama. I could
Mhm.
suggest it for every person that wants to see Netflix or whatever is hooked up in TV series or movies.
Uh-huh.
That's the second best. If you cannot stay out of them, that's the second best because they are really family oriented and they are healthy. So I saw that there was this lady, a character, a very naive character. She was saying to somebody, I wish that AI, artificial intelligence, takes over quickly, because then you would not have good architects or good lawyers or good doctors. All professions would have the ultimate perfection from AI. Therefore, people could not brag anymore. And if you cannot brag anymore, then you can begin and love each other. And that was something from the not the second commandment, the 10th commandment, according to Moses' scroll, which is,
Yeah.
you shall not hate your brother in your heart. I am
Yeah.
Elohim, your Elohim. And
Okay. Well, I mean that also seems to make it too easy for humans, but that's just my take. In other words, you shouldn't need AI to get there. That again is
I think that we could use every help that we can.
all right.
I really legitimate that. I really think I believe that.
Well, there's
Definitely
this,
believe the fans.
the technical singularity is very scary. I'm just saying, because who's who's who's
Tell the AI what to say.
on there? Yeah,
Is that what you're looking for, Dave? Who's telling the AI what to say?
yeah. Who's telling the AI what to say? And you got to be careful because there will be a singularity at some point, which means
I'm not judging, and I'm not saying exactly. Ross is saying Seth is.
yeah.
In Ezra's
Oh, that's
case.
different.
I mean, yes, I'm not talking about bad use of AI. I'm talking for the ultimate good use of the AI.
Yeah, and the question is, who can control that? I'm just saying, because it is a big question that I've spoken to. I got to brief the Undersecretary of Defense for Security and Intel, and it's a big problem because there will be people trying to use it in a bad way. I'm just saying, But in any event, I understand the thought behind what you're saying, and those are good things. Anyways,
I mean, I think that the brag.
You can take it a little further is with the word itself. The interpretations of some verses are different from other people's interpretations of some verses, and they can be used to deceive instead of to what it's supposed to be used for, and that's to exalt the Most High.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it doesn't really matter what it is. Anything can be used to help or to hinder, but the wisdom comes in giving the person that it's coming from
Mhm.
Long enough to illustrate what their motives are.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I cannot hear very well, Nikita.
Anybody
You're-
else can't understand either one.
You were breaking up,
No.
Nikita.
Yeah.
Am I still breaking up? I can go out and come back in.
Why don't you do that, Nikita?
Sure will.
Yeah, and I wanted to copy. I wanted to mention you were bringing up this the 15. The rich man's wealth is a strong city. Now, and I'm not trying to be judgmental on these folks, but you can go into the country around here, country folk, and they'll have a trailer to live in. They'll have 2 new Harleys and 4 new snowmobiles and a big Dodge Ram pickup, and their home is horrible. It's a little trailer. And again, if that's what you choose, but I'd rather put money in my home and have a lesser, so I think what I'm trying to say is, with people that are at that level and below, it's their mentality that hasn't changed. Because put me anywhere, put me in, God forbid, Walmart, and say, you got to work here. I'll try to be the best Walmart employee there would be. I probably wouldn't drink anything because I'd want to kill myself, but I'm joking. But the fact is, no matter where you put me, I want to go to the top of understanding how things work and to be the best employee. And there's a lot of responsibility when, like, we own 2 companies, and there's a lot of responsibility to make payroll and do all these things. It never really leaves you. That's why I love the Shabbat. And Oregon Freeboard says, here's how you stop AI, unplug it.
There you go. Hey, I was gonna. Do you mind if I read the verse from the Robert Alter translation? Not the verse necessarily, but he has a note.
Okay,
verse
please.
15.
Yeah, hit us, JJ.
It says, this verse illustrates how the conventionality of wisdom in these proverbs tumbles into truism, since what is said here, after all, is that a rich man can depend on his wealth for security, whereas a poor man's poverty makes him miserable. That was just, I just try to follow along and alter,
Yeah, yeah.
every once in a while.
That's Sheba
It's
right
just-
there. There's the
Hey,
polydactyl.
Sheba.
Yeah,
Yep.
Sheba. Sheba. 7. There's 14 toes on 2 feet. Yeah, she was at a farm and was just thrown out to the side of the road 12, 14 years ago. So yeah, no, I think that's true. And like I said, here's another thing that we have to be careful of with money is people can kind of idolize it, and the point being, it can become your God, and you have to be very careful, because
It all depends on how you use it.
yeah. But I'm saying, Clody, how you think about it too. There are wealthy people that I know that they're obsessed with thinking about their money, and I don't. No matter how much I have or don't have at any one time, I don't want that to be the way I view the world. And
That's idolatry. I understand what you're saying. That's idolatry. I'm not saying to idolize it. I'm saying just to properly understand the wealth of the rich is their fortress.
Right.
That's all.
Yeah.
The poverty of the poor is their ruin.
Yeah.
And that has to do with being lazy or being not lazy.
I hear you.
That's
I
all.
hear you.
That has a unity.
No, and I love
that hasn't to do here with overloading your wealth or overloading power or idolizing everything. It has to do here. If you work, if you are not lazy, you are gonna have wealth. You are gonna have blessings.
Yes.
And the blessings are a fortress for you. But
Yes.
if you will want to stay and not work, then you're going to be poor, and that's your ruin.
Yeah. No, I think that's it. For me, the other issue is that there's responsibility that comes with all this, and you have to pay attention. And as the old printers used to say, you have to mind your P's and Q's. It takes and it's like trying to understand, what is the Bible really going to say to us. What I mean by that is, what I thought 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, has changed. And it's because of constant trying to mine the Bible for its data, for its knowledge and its wisdom. And you live a little bit of life, and you say, maybe those verses meant something different. So we spend our whole lives searching for this truth of the Bible, and to have a relationship with the Elohim, of Elohim. And to me, that's a lifelong effort.
Commitment. It's a commitment.
Yeah, it's a commitment, and
it's a.
There's one second. I have to go. Keep talking. I have to go get my Siberian Husky.
Okay.
She wants to
mention. Let me mention one thing, and then we can give it to Nikita real quick. So, yeah, there was just a thought that popped in my head earlier this week, and it when Dave mentioned what he just did, it just in between your conversation, it just reminded me of that, and it was, there's, I don't know how many passages that I've read in the Bible about there's always going to be a remnant. Right, and we always think of that remnant as like the little bit of the population of the Israelites who are left over to remain to carry on God's work, right, and carry on His message. But earlier this week, I just popped in my head, and that maybe that remnant could also include the remnant of the text.
Mm-hmm.
So don't think I'm going on your way, Ross, on this yet, but it just made me think that maybe that remnant that they're talking about in the text could actually be the remnant of the text. And we're looking at, as we're as a group, and as Ross is leading us through this the Moses scroll and V, but I just think it's amazing that. Just that my heart is into that point right now where I can even consider that, right? So I know His word is good, and I know that I'm just gonna keep following with my heart, and I just thought that was an amazing thought that I wanted to share, and I know Nikita's got some stuff as well, so I'm gonna go ahead and mute my mic.
Yeah, no, that I agree with that 100%. There's 10 years ago, if you started talking about this stuff to me, I'd say, "What dope are you smoking?" I mean, because there's such a time you're not ready to hear what I have to tell you.
Right,
God.
right.
All right. Okay. So, Nikita, did you have anything you wanted to finish with, and see if we got you on a better comms?
I don't know. Can you hear me okay now? Is that better?
Perfect. It's perfect.
Great. I love the way the Lord shuts me down. He is so wonderful. I mean, He's like, no, you are not going to say that. I love the way He shuts me down when Nikita gets anxious. He's like, no. I got to shut you down. So the proverb tonight is wonderful. I love the word of the Lord. He shows so much, and He says it so plainly and so easy, and it's so applicable throughout life. So the first verse that I wanted to mention was verse 13, where it says, in the lips of him that hath discernment, wisdom is found.
Yeah.
But a rod is for the back of him that is void of understanding. Children come into the world and they do things, and we like, don't touch the stove, it's hot. A child has no understanding of heat or fire or anything of that. So they touch it, and that is the rod. I mean, whether you spank them or not for touching it, they've already been punished by the element itself.
Right.
Okay. So when I saw that, I'm like, okay, so that does not only apply to children, it applies to adults because we're all a child in some discipline or another.
We are. Yeah.
I don't know all of physics. I know a little bit, but I'm about 3 months old in physics.
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay, now since JJ's up here, I'll bring up one of his. I'm sorry.
I got the rod a lot when I was a kid.
I bet.
but you see how he the Most High uses that example in order to teach us bigger concepts.
Right.
So since JJ's up here and he has his purple shirt on, I might be about 85 years old in Prince. Mm-hmm. But in physics, I'm about 3 months old. Mm-hmm. So let humility take over and be wise in the sense to give space to what you don't know to become knowable to you.
Yes.
And not knowable through somebody else's eyes, but knowable from your own experience. Because JJ can talk about Prince till the cows come home. But until I hear that guitar from When Doves Cry, I'm not going to feel the same reverb that it actually has in it.
No.
Or the passion of Purple Rain.
Right.
Okay, so it is not for us to try to clone ourselves in someone else's experience, but it's to seek the knowledge of the Most High for Him to give us His teaching, so He becomes real to us.
Yeah.
And I've been on this vein all week about how, oh gosh, I just love Him so much. How the third commandment. Do not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain.
Yeah.
It really hit on this in this proverb in the last verse where it says, the lips of the righteous know what is acceptable, but the mouth of the wicked speaketh perverseness. The lips of the righteous, you know what is acceptable to your God.
Yeah.
Okay. And when I say that, everybody doesn't have the same God. We don't all have the same deity. Some deities have restrictions. Some, like in the Pantheon, Zeus had, you got the god of water and the god of fire and the god of this and the god of that. Yeah. Well, for me, in the beginning, the Most High created the heavens and the earth. So He has no restrictions on anything within that heavens or that earth.
Amen.
So it's okay for me. It's not a suspension of my belief for Him to split the Atlantic Ocean.
Yeah.
That's not a suspension of my belief because He created that. He can do what He wants to with what He created. Yeah. I don't have any command over that. Now, for me not to be able to fathom it, that's cool. I can't fathom calculus.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm cool with that. But the fact that I would subtract that from His abilities because I can't fathom it is unconscionable to me.
Yeah.
That doesn't work for me. Okay, He can dribble with the moon if He wanted to. He can get 3-pointers with the sun if He wanted to.
Yeah.
And I don't have any problem with believing that, whether I understand it or not.
Yeah.
Because that's my chosen deity. So I will not subtract from who He says Himself, who He is. Yeah. And see, that was the problem. That was the problem with the 10 spies. If you think about it, they went and saw what was the opposition to them. But then Caleb and Joshua seeing the same things they saw, but also knowing that the Creator can do anything. We just left Egypt, and did you forget that fast? Yep. Did you forget the 10 plagues that fast?
Yeah.
Did you forget how we were fed in the wilderness that fast?
Right.
So when He sent us to go see this, allowed us to go and look at it, it wasn't for us to come back with fear, but to come back with awe in saying that, look what He will provide for us.
Yeah.
If He, and I love the way they said it, meaning Joshua and Caleb, they said, if the Lord delights in us, which means if we're being obedient.
Yeah.
If He delights in us, it's ours. There's no problem. Yeah. There's no problem. But they refuse to let the leaders of the other 10 tribes steal their joy in what they believe. They were ready to give up life for it. And that I get that. I understand it. That's why I can be so joyful in the face of what looks like a bad situation.
Yeah.
Because I'm not looking at the situation. I'm looking at how the Most High is going to bring me through it, because he brought me to it. So I'm like, okay, how you gonna get me through this?
Yeah.
And if this day is my last day, what a great day to go on.
Yeah.
Blessed is the name of the Lord, who is the all in all. He is the force of all forces. He is the Most High. He is that. And for this proverb, because I had talked to Julia, I have a lot of writing I got to complete.
Okay.
So I said, Julia, I won't see you this week. I won't be online this week. And then, because I had extended to you, if you ever need someone to read, let me know.
Yeah.
And you said, yeah, I'm letting you know. And so I read the chapter, because I didn't know what verses you would assign to me.
Yeah.
And when I saw that last one, that the lips of the righteous know what is acceptable, bless his name. But the mouth of the wicked speaketh perverseness. That was just it. It was the culmination of everything that I had studied and was working on for this week.
Yeah. Yeah. That's great.
I'm sorry?
That's great. I mean, it's about perspective, you know. And I don't want to go through this again, but when my son died, I figured there's got to be some lesson in here for me, you know, and a lot of lessons came, and I started writing a book, and you know, it's those who turn lemons into lemonade. That kind of, you know, that old colloquial saying. I just think that there is something that comes from all of this, and that we're here to learn. I believe that's one of the reasons why we're here. We're here to learn, and we're here to try to find some things out about life, and what it means, and it's different for everyone because of our circumstances, you know. And that's what I'm saying, is that, you know, for me, there's something to learn about everything, you know. It's also important for all of us to understand these writings that we're reading, because they also help in this time of trouble and stress, and that whole thing is to me. The book tells us, and you know, I go back to the 10 first. You know, that's the thing. The 10, the Decalogue. You know, how does what happened to you fit in that structure, which is really a structure for society, if you want to look at it that way. And then secondly, these other great books and these things that happen. You know, what happened to Abraham, what happened to Moses, what happened to Joshua, what happened to David. There's always these stories, you know, that are there that impact our lives. You know, I always like to talk about the story of David and Bathsheba. You know, when
Hey Dave, before you continue that,
yeah,
may I say one more thing about the verse that Clodis brought up?
yeah.
I didn't want you to get so far gone that everybody forgot the verse. Is it okay? You all right with that?
Please go ahead.
The verse was, the rich man's wealth is his strong city, and the destruction of the poor is their poverty.
Mm-hmm.
I see that differently, in the sense that the Most High is my strong city.
Yeah.
He is that in which I trust and hold on to everything. So if you trust in your riches, then you'll do anything to keep them.
Yeah.
I do understand that this might just be a different take on this particular verse out of context, because I think she was referring to the fact that don't be lazy. I get that. That is not what I'm not knocking. I'm not rooting for laziness.
Yeah.
You know, with the exception of this not doing anything on the Sabbath. Yeah. I'm not rooting for laziness. But when I see the rich man's wealth is his strong city, knowing very few rich men, I do know that when push comes to shove, they will do anything to keep that, even become idolatrous. Yeah. Or become blasphemous. Because that's all they can see is the money. Yeah. Where it says the destruction of the poor is their poverty. Having been poor, the destruction of the poverty of the poor is not what is the money that the lack of money is not what destroys them, not their trust in the Most High. Right. So if they trust in the Most High, the lack of the funds, that wisdom from that trust will bring them to a better place.
Amen.
Where the rich man, it's hard for them because they will always, if I had more money, I'd be okay. It's not money. It's not money.
Absolutely not. Another thing I'll add to that, and that is that my vet is I'm going to be 66 in a couple of weeks. And the thing that changed in my 30s or 40s, I did not look at money as a thing. I looked at it as like fuel in the tank. Is there enough fuel in the tank? Let's go. So from that perspective, I changed my view of what money was and didn't look at it as a thing to be idolized or to say, I want this much money. Well, what's that going to do for you, And I think, once I realized that it's just, credits for what you did and not an object, when we were brought up, and I was born in the 50s and in the 60s and 70s, money was an object. It was, there was no such thing as like, I got a debit card. It was a $20 bill, a $50 bill, a $100 bill. It was a thing. And I just don't see it that way anymore. And I think that helped me. I'm just sharing that, it's not something to be, idolized or worshipped. And
I think it's a purifier. I think money shows money illustrates the heart of the person who has it, because it can be an accomplice to wickedness, but can also provide food, shelter, and health, and show the righteousness of the Most High, the heart of the person who wields that debit card or that paper money or those coins. But for it really, you think of it, a lot of the rich people who are in jail or should be, they're not there because of money, but the reason they got in trouble in the first place was because of the need to have to hoard it. There's never a self day for a rich man, because he's always looking for or dreading the day where he won't have his money. Yeah. Where a poor person who doesn't have money is always looking how he can please his God with the little that he does have.
Yeah.
It's a purifier, it's a magnifier to me, because I'm not rich by any stretch of the imagination or any doodlings on paper. I am not rich, okay? But I do love the righteousness, the generosity, the benevolence, the strength, the joy of the Most High, and it comes out through my pores. If you give me money, I'm going to give it away. If he gives me whatever he gives me, I'm going to see a need greater than mine, because for me, my greatest need is met in the Most High. Mm-hmm. It's met in him. Whether it's a bowl of cereal or filet mignon, I am satisfied. Yeah. Then in contentment, there is great peace and goodness gracious. It's the Shabbat, and I'm overflowing with it. It's wonderful. There's no one like him, none at all. Yeah. I'm sorry, I keep going. Go right ahead, Dave. I'll be quiet.
I understand where you're coming from. I think it's meant here, though, that if you work hard and do good things, you'll have the wealth to go on. And the sluggard or the sloth will be always in need of things.
It's blessing. I'm sorry, it's the blessing.
Yeah.
So you will have before the next year's produce, and that's wealth. It's not money, and it's not something to be greedy.
Why are you greedy? Are you being greedy, Toby?
Of God. Yes, I am.
All right, listen. I see that Todd and I appreciate them, Todd and Angel, coming because they're going to bed. But I do think it's a lot about the perspective. And like I said, I know people that are greedy that are poor. That being greedy isn't about how much money you have. It's about a mindset that people have. And if you can't part with, you could have $1. You can drown in a glass of water or in the ocean. You're still drowning. And I see that with a lot of people and their mindset of that they've got $5 and you ain't getting any of it, and I see people with millions of dollars and you ain't getting any of it. But I knew, people that were poor that give you the shirt off of their back, and I know people that are wealthy that will give you money and help if you need help. So I think it's a lot to do with the mindset of who you are, and if you start idolizing money, and you're gonna, the other thing I think that's the true statement. The more money you have, the easier it is to get into trouble in many ways. You got to be careful with that. Because things change. The other thing is that
a poor person could advocate the opposite of that, because the poor person could say that because I don't have, that's
Right.
why I have to do unrighteousness to have.
Sure.
So
sure.
I think we always try to see things from our point of view, but righteousness is righteousness. Greediness is greediness, and blessings from God are blessings from God.
Amen. I agree
And that's
with
the last one I'm saying about this. I'm sorry.
That's okay. Clody, you're dressed up awful nice. Were you at a job interview or something?
Oh no, this is so it looks good for the camera.
Okay.
Believe me, it's not that nice.
Okay. Well, I just, I noticed
But
that.
thank you.
I'm here in the t-shirt. We got Prince and the Purple Rain up there, and and it's just you look professional here.
God.
So this is a good way to do an interview. I'm sure that's part of.
Serious, sorry.
What did you say to her, JJ? Say it again.
I just said somebody's got to look good for the team, right?
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Thank you.
It's
not Patty, we're gonna cover for her.
Yeah, she probably felt that she had to take a shower and get ready. And I'm like, it's Shabbat at our house. We're not Ross on Shabbat morning where he dresses up all these new clothes. He's causing me problems because I had to buy the new hat and some more shirts from Horeb Institute. Yeah, I bought the black one because it's impressive. But hey, anyways, I'm gonna sign off. And like I said, we're going to talk about the Sea of Reeds tomorrow and afterwards. And again, I hope and pray that some of you can make it to the annual meeting for United Israel World Union. And I might have Ralph Bunton. He wrote a new book about the past of United Israel and its impact. I might have him on next week. I'm going to ask him to talk about his new book. And again, I would encourage you when Ross makes his shot at Tovia and Wes. It's really good. I think Ross did an excellent job. He was nice, but at the end, Tovia is probably going to go because Ross is correct in this, in my opinion. All right, so I'm just going to give our last prayer and look forward to seeing you all tomorrow morning. Hopefully we'll talk. Yeah.
All right. I don't know if this is coming through okay.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah, I was just going to say that tomorrow, I think Seth is going to let this video fly like in the morning, like 9 or 10.
Yeah.
Before our class, and then just let it go. But he just wanted to give it a little bit of time and a little bit of build up, and we'll see. Just so everybody knows, I'm friends with Tovia.
Yeah.
We tour Israel together. I like Tovia, but I also love it when people can be honest with text.
Yeah.
And I wanted to make sure that I made that point because we see so many times that people who are formerly Christians, they want to go back and bash Christianity. I mean, I love the guy, but this is what he does, and for good reason. He doesn't want to lose fellow Jews to Christianity. I get that. But, and I'm not doing it really to defend Wesley Huff. I don't know Wesley Huff. Yeah. But I thought, this is an excellent opportunity to make people think And so really that's what it's about. And Seth has been telling me for a while, if you do some of these, and make people think it's gonna, you'll get some good and bad remarks, but
Right.
move them off of center. Anyway, so sometime tomorrow morning, whatever Seth decides, and I can't turn my camera on. I don't know how to do that here because it's tied to other complicated things. So anyway, I just wanted to say Shabbat Shalom and thank y'all for doing this, David, and tell Patty, I've already texted her, but tell her we pray, hope and pray that she gets better quickly.
Yeah.
And I look forward to seeing the rest of y'all tomorrow morning.
All right. Well, I can't wait to hear about the Sea of Reeds. And I mentioned to people that I like Deborah Hearn's analyses, and I kind of like David Roll's timeline. And, I've gone to the British Museum to see what David Roll was talking about. And he makes some really good points. I'm not saying I agree with everything, but, that's a good thing. No, I did like that. I think it's a great, short, focused thing that you guys have. And I appreciate that. So I'm just going to end with this prayer from the book of Numbers. Jehovah bless you and keep you. Jehovah make his face shine on you and be gracious to you. Jehovah turn his face towards you and give you peace. Amen. Amen to all of you. Shabbat shalom. And thank you for coming. And I'm sorry about last week. Shalom.